What's up, world, and welcome into the OH.Report video podcast, streaming live and free, tickling all 5 of your senses with everything from the world of local sports to pro sports. Definitely have some food references, I'm going to guess, at some point during the show, and whatever else our little semi-intelligent brains can come up with. My name is Brian Skoronsky, wearing what I thought was a pretty clever shirt.
I don't know what those shirts
But surrounded by a bunch of youngsters, and no one's ever even seen the movie. It's all completely lost on them. But coming up on today's show, each of us are going to get 5 good minutes. We've got Travis Berardi back out on the road. He's at Centerburg football practice, catching up with the Trojans. An all-new edition of Talk of the Town. And, of course, we've got your top plays and your Friday night phenoms. I am not alone here on the podcast, of course, because you can see this guy right next to me. And Hayden, no Steelers for you yesterday, of course. So how did you spend your Sunday? What did you do when your favorite team didn't play?
I still watched football. I watched a little bit of NFL in those mid-afternoon games, but did flip on then eventually the Guardians clinching the division. So despite the loss, I was kind of happy to get that out of the way on Thursday this week instead of Sunday.
And for G-Man and Storm, your 2 favorite teams actually played each other yesterday. It was a heck of a game, one of the best games of the day. G's got on the Victory Monday shirt, though, for the Vikings. When that head-to-head happens, is there trash talk going on? Is there Snapchats going back and forth? Well, what did you guys do to let the other know you're paying attention and your team was on top? Because yours was for a long time, Storm.
I don't talk until I know it's over because I've been through that too many times where like I jump the gun and I kind of get backfired. So as soon as they lost, I sent Storm a couple snaps and then I had to apologize to him because I felt a little bad. But Storm's kind of just there for the ride with the Lions, so he doesn't do much trash talking. I told him he needs to.
When it's the Lions, it's hard to, man.
I told him I was like, you need to so we can build this game up a little bit more. So it was still fun though.
I think I could probably learn a lesson from you. I put out a tweet from the Browns-Jets game. It didn't age very well after the Nick Chubb touchdown, so I am also going to start playing my cards that way. All right, guys, probably the coolest thing that we do here on the OH Report, I think, from week to week, are the top plays in the Friday Night Phenoms, and I know that's why a lot of you guys tune in, and especially now, if you get a comment in during the live broadcast, it counts for not just 1 vote, but 2. So let's go ahead and meet the nominees for this week's Friday Night Phenoms. Individual performances from Week 6 of the high school football season. These are your nominees for Friday Night Phenom. Crestview's Owen Barker showed off his range of abilities in the Cougars' 31-6 victory over Lucas on Friday night. The senior hauled in 2 receptions for 29 yards and a tutty, but the All-Ohioan defensive performance was really the story here as Barker wreaked havoc on the Cubs from start to finish, forcing a fumble which led to a Sean Bailey scoop and score along with several big hits. So I think it's safe to say that Barker, he's on a mission this season so far, off to a 6-0 start.
He's definitely the heart of the defense, passion, emotion. He lets it all come out, but those offensive numbers, just the cherry on top to what he's able to do on the defensive side of the ball.
So Barker checks in at nominee number 1. Moving on to numero dos, and it's Galleon's Gabe Poison Ivy. Another huge night for this Tiger as he racked up 192 yards on the ground to go along with 2 scores, but that's not all. Ivy showed up on both sides of the equation in this one, bringing in a key defensive interception and also took a fumble recovery back to the crib as Galleon upset Shelby 34-27.
Gabe Ivy continues to put on a show for the Tigers this season. A couple weeks on this list now. Get him a Phenom nominee and let him win this one. Galleon upset Shelby in a big MOAC win.
Moving on to Huron's Dylan Holler at our 3rd nominee, because this Tiger would end the night with 312 passing yards and 6 total touchdowns in a game that surpassed 100 total points. The senior QB definitely showed his strength in this game, where he, in an ambush of Tigers, would take down a Willard Flashes squad that was tied for the lead in the conference.
Yeah, this whole game deserved a Phenom shout-out. I mean, over 100 total points, and for Holler individually, 6 total touchdowns. I mean, that's just almost unheard of. What a performance by the senior quarterback.
Yeah, just about every time he dropped back or took off out of the pocket, he was scoring points. We take you out to the Luke Bryant Show at nominee 4, where the offensive maestro was conducting some beautiful keynotes throughout the night. Another magical performance by the junior gunslinger saw him fill it up through the sky for nearly 300 yards and 4 scores in front of the home fans. Just about every game at Community Stadium seems to be another great concert led by Luke, who's got his team rocking with 4 wins in Ashland's last 5. Nominee number 5 was box office down at Chet Looney Stadium as Mount Gilead's senior QB Matt Bland was all over the field, throwing for $160 and a score while rushing for 62 more. Plus, this dude even had a pick 6 on the night as the Indians roll over the Dogs 22-6. Gee, how special was Bland versus EK?
Matt Bland was so versatile against EK, coming in a hostile environment, controlling the crowd, and then having the pick 6 on defense and leading the charge on the offensive side of the ball at the QB spot. Bland was huge for Mount Gilead.
Yeah, nothing bland about his performance on this night as he goes into enemy territory and he torches the Dogs with a big game. A familiar face returns to the Phenoms this week as Kalen Lamaster continues to punish defenses who dare to stand in his way. The junior running back sailed through more Pirates than Davy Jones on Friday night, blasting his way into the end zone 4 times on 21 carries, rushing for 198 yards, and had a decent kick return as well. This Trojan looks to be putting his squad in a position to clinch a high playoff berth, and we're all fired up here to have the Beast back on our countdown of the nominees. So these are your Friday Night Phenoms, folk. From week 6 of the high school football season, let us know who had the most impressive week by entering your vote in the comment section below. And remember, it all counts double right here and now, live and free on the OH.Report video podcast. So drop us a comment, let us know who you thought had the best individual performance of the week. Moving on. Without further ado, let's just go straight into those top plays. The best plays of the week captured by our camera, all coming at you right here and now. Let's kick off our top plays this week with Crestview's Sean Bailey, who's going to find himself in the right place at the right time after that big hit from Owen Barker caused a Lucas fumble. Bailey scooped up the pigskin and never looked back, returning the recovery 33 yards into the end zone for a Cougars 6-pack of points.
Surprise, a dynamic duo. Barker lays the wood, and then Bailey just able to scoop it up at a defensive touchdown on a night where they probably didn't even need it. Crestview undefeated on the season, big win over small school power Lucas.
Check it out one more time as he picks it up and just heads straight into the end zone. Nominee number 2 comes in as the only TD from this game, but oh boy, it would not disappoint. As Austin Niedercore, you're going to see him haul in a 36-yard touchdown pass while being dragged down by a Colonel Crawford defender. I mean, watch ahead, young fella, as Carey defeats the Eagles in a big one.
Put that boy on a poster with a game on the line, too. Blue Devils and Niedercore continue to roll 6-0 here on the schedule.
Huge catch in the end zone again for the game winner from Niedercore. Coming in at number 3 is Tiger sophomore Nate Dismuke, who he's got 5 fingers, and they're all going to say snatch to the football. One-handed snag over the middle would go for 37 yards as Dismuke single-handedly brought the Tiger streak, and according to our research group, a streak is a group of Tigers, a little bit closer to the end zone with that amazing catch and a career night for the 10th grader on homecoming nonetheless. Number 4 is Ashland's QB Luke Bryant. You're going to see him, he's going to extend the play with his legs, circle away from some Madison defenders just long enough to chuck it up into the end zone where his wide receivers are going to do their best circus act, juggling the football until eventually Jonathan Metzger secures the bag off the tip drill for an Ashland touchdown.
Yeah, a little bit of a juggling act here. Luke Bryant's offensive line gave up on it, but hey, Luke Bryant didn't. His guys going to the end zone, doing the rest, barely getting the tippy toe tap to go down, as we see one more time on the moving pictures.
Big catch for the touchdown to kick off the scoring in that game. Our final nominee is Huron's Bo Harkleroad, who found this Tiger stride running through a storm of flashes, dodging the shockwaves all the way into the end zone, completing a 52-yard punt return to the house and a blowout win on the road.
Once he found the edge, there was no looking back, and special teams touchdowns, always a nice addition when your offense is already clicking on the night.
You see, he just makes a couple of jukes, gets to the sideline, and has the speed to take it all the way in for a touchdown, knocking off a Flashes team that was undefeated in the conference. To determine who made the top play from week 6 of the high school football season by sliding into the comment section below. And just one last reminder, get in those votes, make them count double right here and now during the live podcast. Well, gentlemen, we're all very big NFL fans here on the OH Report, and I think yesterday it could have been easy to overlook something that was going down in Cleveland, and no, it had nothing to do with the Browns because, of course, they were sitting at home comfortably after a big victory over Hayden Steelers. But how about those Cleveland Guardians wrapping up the AL Central for the first time since 2018, second straight series sweep for them, too. The youngest team in baseball, by a long shot, is 19 games over 500. And they're winners in 9 of their last 10, so they're starting to get hot. J-Ram, Jimenez, and the boys, they look like they are at least going to host a wild card series, likely against the Mariners, depending how things shake out here at the end. But no matter what happens in the playoffs, this season definitely a success for the Guardians. None of us are huge baseball fans, but it's hard to not pay respect and give some homage to a team like this. It truly feels like not the Bad News Bears in terms of the personality, but just a bunch of guys that just kind of slapped out there together, and it just worked. It gelled. It truly is like the real-life Major League, a movie I'm sure none of you have seen, but it's great. Any comments for you guys about the Guardians?
Go Guardians. Good luck.
Real original.
I'll try to tune into maybe a play or two or something.
Oh.
A play or two?
Maybe an at-bat.
Maybe a full inning?
I'll go watch. I like J-Ram. I'll watch an at-bat from his, but I just get too bored.
He's so exciting.
He is cool.
J-Ram brings a lot of juice.
Oh, yeah.
So once it does get to the playoffs, do you feel like you can start getting some energy and maybe sit through a game or just a play, you said?
World Series is like the only time I ever, and I don't even watch it all. I'll tune in. Like if it's a close game, and I remember when the formerly known as the Indians, they were playing the Cubs. I watched some of that with my dad. My dad watches baseball, so if he's I'll go down there and watch it with him, but I'm not gonna. I can't cheer. I don't know really what's going on.
You gonna carve out any time of your day during the playoffs for these Guardians?
No.
Hey.
I'll give some. I'm not gonna sit back and lie and say that I was like the most diehard Guardians fan all this season, but I watched the last few innings yesterday to see them do it, and if it's conveniently located in times where there's not football on, I will watch.
Well, they're certainly lighting it up right now. So they're an exciting team at this moment, and I'm going to start paying attention come the playoffs. Got to do my due diligence now. Speaking of lighting it up, did you guys watch Ohio State in prime time? They definitely took it to Wisconsin. And if Buckeye fans didn't know the name Cade Stover yet, they certainly do now. This dude was flat out amazing. The human locomotive, as I like to call him, from Lexington. He had a coming out party in front of a sold out blackout crowd, scoring his first 2 career touchdowns, helping OSU remain unbeaten at 4-0 with a 55-21 victory. I watched the first half of the game at B-Dubs next to a table full of Lexington students, and they were going nuts. They could not have been more proud. They kept cheering, "That kid went to our high school, yeah!" The second half I watched at a neighborhood bar, and there were even guys that were Mansfield senior coaches and some others that go to different schools or are principals at other schools that were all cheering on Cade. So I sent him a couple of congratulation texts and just let him know, hey, he's the talk of the town right now, I think all around North Central Ohio. Really exciting to see Mr. Football, the only one we've ever had from Richland County, putting it all together. Could not have been more happy for number 8. It's just dope to see a kid that a lot of folks, I think, around here said, even though he was Mr. Football, I don't think he's going to get much playing time at Ohio State. Check him out now.
Yeah, and me and Storm were watching it together, and we seen the piece where they were at the farm.
Yes.
Cade's farm. That was cool. It was just kind of it was awesome to see. So, and as soon as he was scoring the touchdowns too, we were like, dude, that's Cade. That's awesome. So awesome to see. And now that he, I think Ohio State gave him Offensive Player of the Week too.
They
so
did.
He's
Just
getting it
announced that
done
today.
He's getting it done now at the Buckeyes.
Yeah, one of the hardest working kids that I've ever seen, period, in sports. And I'm glad that you brought up Stover Farms, which his family owns, of course, because what a lot of people don't know, not only was he the best athlete to come from our area, certainly I think, well, it's debatable, the best male athlete to come out in the OH.Report era, but he gets up at 4:30 a.m. and he was out riding that tractor for real, putting in work. So just an all-around awesome dude, and just thought that we should pay some respect to number 8, getting his first time into the end zone, doing some big things. All right, this is what I'm most excited for my 5 minutes today. It actually might run a little bit long just because of this upcoming topic, guys. But as you guys know, well, we're just jumping right into it. So I spend a fair amount of time in airports, and me and my friend, we've had a debate for years. Is Beyonce a top 50 artist? I say yes. He says no. So I'm sitting at the airport one night, and I made a list of my 50 favorite musical acts of all time, okay? And this is just according to my own personal taste. So you can see, you know, there's some legendary guys in there in my first 10. As you start getting into the 30s, you're going to notice some of my specific flavor, maybe some surprises. And then we're slowing it down a little bit as we get into the top 25. Clearly, my style of rock, very hard. I like to be pumped up. I need the energy. And I have an appreciation for the hip-hop icons, which are about to make their way on the countdown here. So just take all these in, guys. I didn't get a chance to amend the list. I made this 2 months ago, and then I was thinking, what do I want to talk about today on the podcast? And I didn't have any creative ideas, so I went to make a note on my phone, and I saw this baby lurking in there. So now, look, into the top 10 we go. Who's going to be number 1? You're all wondering? That's right. The GOAT, Drizzy Drake, my favorite. And I'll explain that real fast. I just think that you can play Drake at any party. My grandma can be in the room. My kids can be there, certainly my peers. And he has an album. He's so versatile for any flavor, any style, any mood you want. And I can play it. I play more songs of him off of my phone. Nirvana's got the best songwriter, period, of all time. And Kurt Cobain. Love their music so much. And then Chevelle on my list. Probably a little bit of a stunner, but definitely my favorite hard rock group that I've seen in person more than any other group in my lifetime. So that's my top 50. I just want to get your guys' take, some perspective. Did you notice any names that aren't on the list, or do you got some beef with some that popped up? Real quick, some notable names that didn't make my top 50. I noted no Elvis, no Beatles, no Garth Brooks, Shania Twain, Pink Floyd, Grateful Dead, many others not making it. A few stunners, Miley Cyrus, Britney Spears, definitely too high. I must have had a cocktail or something before I put this list together. But I do appreciate so much of her choreography and how good of a dancer she is that she's definitely worthy in my top 50. Maybe the other biggest surprise, Bring Me the Horizon. I love them when I work out. So you guys see this? I want to get feedback from all of you.
You want to start?
You've listened to music a lot longer than I have, and you also listen to a lot different genres.
Very diverse.
Yeah, you're very diverse. So I think Elvis, for me, have to be in there just because my family loves Elvis, so I kind of know about him a little bit more.
Sure.
So I would, if I was making this list, I think he'd have to be in there. But I don't think I feel like every artist in here I've at least heard of. So I'm just going to go off the factor that you've been alive a lot longer than I have, so you've listened to a lot more of these. But I think Kenny Chesney at 18 is a bit high.
Bit high for the Ken Dog.
I like Kenny Chesney, but I think 18 is a bit much.
How do you feel about my girl Carrie Underwood cracking the top 7?
Yeah, that was a little unbelievable.
Underwood over
I honestly just realized that.
I know it's your list.
But wow.
So Kanye, to me, has great first 3 albums. I love them to death. And then the collab album with Jay-Z is my favorite 1-2 punch of all time, period. But he's put out a lot of bad music for a while now. Carrie, she does her thing, album after album, and she's a performer to the max. Kanye just kind of dances around on the stage. He doesn't bring a lot. Carrie Underwood, try to watch one of her shows and not get excited about the entire thing. Plus, she's the voice of Sunday Night Football for 10 years running. She's a pretty big deal, and she never misses Quad Day. Storm, is there anybody not on the list that you're pretty disappointed?
Was J. Cole on there?
Oh, no, sir. No J. Cole for me in my top 50.
That'd probably be the only one. Honestly, my music taste is horrible. I probably don't even listen to 50 different artists. So.
Yeah, that was my thing. I don't think I've
there are
ever.
too many for me to even
digest. I listen to like 3 artists, and that's pretty much it every day. So
it was like the same 4 dudes.
Yep, on rotation.
Wow, there's a lot of music out there, boys.
I know.
It seems you might be missing out. Well, what about you, Hayden? I mean, you've got a little bit more seasoning than these 2 babies at 22 years old. So I have 15 more years of music experience. Back when we used to have to buy compact discs, we didn't just have these fancy phones to get all of our stuff on. So I've listened to full albums of a lot of these people on my list.
Yeah, I mean, I would say probably in some of my earlier days, I'm not that much older than these guys, but I mean, like, in my car, my first car, I didn't have like an aux or anything, so I was having people burn CDs. Like, we were making CDs. I had CDs of like the Beach Boys when I was younger. I mean, I don't know if I'd put them in my top 50.
I didn't.
But like, I do get having to listen to one person and just that person. So, yeah, I think it's just differences in age, probably sometimes.
Okay. So for all my 30-somethings out there, you see the list, critique it. I would love to get some feedback about what you think of my top 50 musical acts. Okay? So I'm putting everything into the equation. You know, the singing, the dancing. That's why Justin Timberlake's on there. I don't listen to a ton of his music, but my man, and Usher too made the list. I like a lot of his tracks, but the way that he can move so smooth, it's just impossible to keep him out of my top 50. All right, guys. My last thing for today. Remember when I told you about my very dominant fantasy football team, the Ski Stunners, after coming off of a really disappointing season where I won just one game in fantasy football? Here's a little update. Here's how the season is going for your boy now. Look at all the names. I mean, this is the Who's list, a.k.a. the greatest roster ever assembled. And the update is we're 0-3. Okay?
Yikes.
Been through some tough battles. Twice weeks decided by 2 points or less, including last night. All I needed was the Broncos defense to score 22 points or less. They put up more. 0-3. We suck again. I have no explanation. Look at all the names.
Take Amari Cooper off your bench now.
All I had to do was put Njoku into my lineup. I didn't against the Steelers. I regret that now.
Yeah.
And I have
He had a
nothing else to
big
say.
game.
Yeah.
Nothing else to say.
Andy Cooper.
That's hurtful. I'm sure.
I had Amari in my lineup.
Is Terry McLaurin the one hurting you? Or is he not starting anymore?
Terry didn't start this week. I did make the executive decision 5 minutes before Browns kickoff. I took him out. I put Amari in. And then I looked at Njoku. I was like, dang, bro, you've made like 2 catches in 2 weeks. You got to go to my bench.
We don't play good against
So who'd you put in front of him?
A tight end who got 2 catches? It didn't go well. I can't even remember. Hunter Hutchinson, I think, rings a bell.
Hunter Henry.
Hunter Henry.
Patriots.
Okay. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, your tight ends are your
Yep,
downfall.
that's
it. You might I would package Terry McLaurin for a tight end.
Might have to. I got to make some moves at this point. I can't.
GM.
I can't just go into the crapper and just tank and be looking forward to next year already.
Yeah,
it's too early. There's still a chance for me to dig my way out. But 2 weeks decided by 3 points or less, those are hurting.
They're heartbreaking.
Okay. Well, speaking of heartbreaking, how about a real heartbreaker with the ladies? You know what I'm talking about? Our very own big league Travis Berardi, he's out on the road where he has been the last few weeks here on the podcast in Centerburg country today. So we're going to toss it out to Travis and see what he's got going on with the Trojans.
Thank you, Brian. I am here with Centerburg head coach Andy Coella in the heart of Ohio, where the Centerburg Trojans are in the heart of the KMAC race. Coach, you lost a tough one to Utica week 1, but since that game, it seems like you're just getting better and better as the weeks go on.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's kind of the plan. Those first couple games are just trying to figure out, with the new teams, like how the guys are gelling together, and so sometimes it takes a little bit longer to try to figure those things out. But I feel like from that point, I think we've done a pretty good job at trying to do that, and the kids have responded really well.
You graduated a lot last year, especially some of your skill positions, but the ones that return seem to have filled into those positions pretty well, especially Tyler Johnson taking over back at quarterback. I know he's played quarterback in the past, but with him and Kalen LeMaster back there in that backfield, you guys are pretty darn good on offense.
Yeah, I think what you try to do is you try to sprinkle in some of those younger kids, throughout, so they have some type of experience. So when they get to this point, their junior and senior year, they've stepped on the field, and they have a little bit of experience. And that way, when you need to rely on them, they understand what it's all about, and the different stresses that come along throughout the situations there. So, all those guys out there have some form of experience there on offense, and they've done an outstanding job thus far.
And this team after week 1 has been battle-tested as well. I mean, you got revenge on Loudonville down there. You're down late, you score, and Tyler takes the team back down and scores with 25 seconds left. Games like those that you can pull out close early on in the season, how important is that as you move on, get into the meat of your schedule and then maybe even into the playoffs? Yeah,
I feel like, you touched on it before, just getting better, every week. And, being in those situations, I think will hopefully pay off, down the road. I mean, they've already paid off for us. I think the Worthington Christian game, there was a 4th down play in there at the end of the game where he threw a touchdown, and, that kind of put us ahead there. So, being in those situations, it gives the kids just more confidence. You're going to get in situations where they're going to be difficult. And if you've never been in them before, you're not going to know how to respond. And they've been in quite a few of them here this year and a couple last year as well, and you figure out how to respond and what you can do and what you can't do. So, again, I think they've done a really good job with that.
Final 4 weeks of the season, you're at Mount Gilead. You have Danville, who's tied with you guys in first place in the KMAC. Then you host Northmore and then Fredericktown for the Freddie Berg. 4 games between you and a KMAC championship. Just what's it going to take week by week for you guys to keep getting wins and possibly clinch that KMAC title?
Doing just that, taking it 1 week at a time. If you look at anything beyond this week, you can fall into a trap of not preparing for your opponent this week, not continuing to try to get better, which we've done a really good job thus far. And, that's kind of been the focus for us, not only this year but the last several years as well, just trying to take it 1 day and 1 week at a time, and you can see that on any given Friday anything can happen, so you don't want to look down the road because then you get caught up, with what's going on right now.
All right, Coach, I appreciate it. Back to you guys. Thank you, Brian. I am here with Centerburg head coach Andy Coelho.
Lurking somewhere.
Yeah.
It's almost like he's here.
Fun. All right. Yeah, cool to see what the Trojans have been doing. Graduated so many people, as you heard them talk about, and off to this great start. Top of the KMAC and looking like they could be one of the favorites to win the league. Who did you guys pick to win the league, by the way?
The KMAC, I picked Northmore.
Fredericktown.
So still in the hunt. Northmore's kind of get their act together. Need a big win over East Knox, but it's going to be tough to catch those Trojans, I think, potentially. Yeah. All right, Hayden, what do you got for us this week?
Well, I'll kind of keep the trend alive of kind of going on a tour with Hayden and experiencing what I went through last week. We start in the KMAC where I saw Colonel Crawford take on Northmore in volleyball on Monday night, and it was the first time seeing Colonel Crawford. Haven't seen them yet on the volleyball side of things, and they were fantastic. Northmore's been kind of on a rough patch lately on the volleyball end of things too. But Reagan Ritzhoff and Colonel Crawford took them down in 4 sets, and just very impressed by the way they played. So definitely can see them being very competitive once we get to tournament time. Tuesday saw more volleyball. St. Peter's headed over to Mansfield Christian to take them on. They celebrated some birthdays and played some volleyball and ended up sweeping them in 3 straight sets. The Lady Spartans definitely struggled a bit, but Lady Flames, Kylia Jones, we actually during the broadcast were trying to figure out how many aces would be the record because she had about, I think it might have gotten to about 11 or 13 aces, and I don't know if you ever saw, someone did comment, I think 30 aces.
Is it a state record?
It is a state record. So I would like to see what that looks like, but
Maybe a program record for them?
I think so. But she had a great game, and it was her birthday the night before, so they celebrated afterwards. Thursday, Garrett and I headed down to Fredericktown, and I do want to watch a video of something that happened to G-Man and I during Fredericktown that sound would be ideal for, but this had never happened to either of us, I don't think so. If we can show what happened at Fredericktown on Thursday. Danny Lynn, shout out to Lily Rose, block party number 30, Lady Freddy's. Danny's certainly been a block party so far. That front line holding it down.
I think they just dabbed at us, Hayden.
They just
I don't know if they were dabbing at us or if they were.
We're getting some points.
Yeah, they're dabbing at us.
I've never had a whole team just stop mid-set and dab. I was in disbelief.
I don't know if they were dabbing at us or if they were dabbing at like a mom in the stands getting a photo or something. So.
Yeah, I think that's what you were saying during it. Like mid-game, mid-timeout. But you can tell they're a really fun team, having a lot of fun this season, and that's equated to success for them too. They're competing with Centerburg and Cardington Lincoln up there towards the top for a KMAT championship on the volleyball side. Friday, got to go to such a huge football game over in Crestview as Lucas took them on. We talked a lot about that on the Friday Night Pigskin, and I'm sure the boys will touch on it later, so I won't take too much, but it was a great game. I don't think Lucas played their best game that they could have. I think Cressview's really good and probably would have won either way out of the two, but I think people were expecting it to be a little bit closer, but obviously, yeah. I think people were a little surprised when I came back and saw the score, just the fashion that they did it in. So these are just kind of uncharted territories for Lucas that we're not used to seeing them in, but if there's anyone that can turn a season around, it's going to be Scott Spittler and those guys in Cub Country. So we'll see. They got a lot of work ahead of them, but we'll see if they can turn things around. But it was a beautiful night at Crestview, by the way. The whole stadium, the whole place was looking great. Lights flicker after the scores. They even added confetti. It was starting to feel a little bit like EK down there. So they're up in their game. And then I capped things off on Saturday with a little evening soccer match. I am not the biggest follower of all things soccer, as people may know, so Travis filled me in. Ottawa Hills comes into the night. They were number 2 in Division 3, and then Lexington number 7 in Division 2. So absolutely a huge matchup for a Saturday, and things were tied up 1-1 at half. Looked like it was going to be a really close game, and neither team really taking super control. But then Lex ends up running away with things. They score 3 goals in the final 3 minutes of the match, which was a bit chaotic. 4 yellow cards or 5 yellow cards. I believe it was 4. But a lot of scrapping and a lot of jawing between the two teams. But I think that's what happens when you put 2 major programs like this together. Coaches knew each other, so, everyone wants to be the top dog. But it was a great way to spend Saturday evening. And that's basically a summary of my week last week on the OH.Report. Taking things up to the college level, I don't have a group or an individual question for everyone today, but I do have something I want to talk about, college football. I know we talked about the Buckeyes a little bit, so if we can pull up the graphic, the AP poll did not change again this week, and the top 3 teams are Georgia, Alabama, and Ohio State. I put Ohio State in the middle just so we could compare what's been done this season a little bit easier, but my question is, now I know we're all a little bit biased, and Storm may be a little bit biased, as in you probably dislike Ohio State, possibly as a Michigan fan. But I've had a lot of difficulty really breaking this down and seeing the justification as to why we're not moving. So I just wanted to get some second thoughts on where you think you would rearrange your top 3, if you made any changes.
Obviously, I like our win over Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia's win against Oregon looks pretty impressive. Winning by 46.
Pretty convincing.
But they only beat Kent State by 17.
My alma mater.
And I would say Toledo and Kent State are probably relatively in the same kind of tier.
Both
and we
MAC
beat
schools.
Toledo 77-21.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard because it doesn't even matter at this point. But of course, I would say. I don't know. I don't know if I could change it, to be honest. I don't know. I guess I could see us go 2.
Okay.
But I couldn't see us go 1.
Georgia's resume
Right.
looks better to me on paper.
I don't like
I don't like our Arkansas State.
the fact that Kent State, and I went there, so I feel like I can say it a little bit, has been a historically bad football team program for almost 10 to 15 years. It was a 2-point game at halftime. Do you think Ohio State would have let Kent State play you that close and only score 39 points? I know a lot more goes into it. I guess my biggest discretion is 55 first place Joes and 4-4 for Ohio State and Alabama. I don't know what the criteria is to be an AP poll voter, but I don't agree with.
Well, now Alabama's
big
win
of
over
a-
Texas doesn't look as impressive either because they just lost to Texas Tech. So,
No.
I see your argument. Like,
there's I think a smaller argument for 1, but I think there's definitely the argument for 2 is so solid that I don't know why we wouldn't be at 2.
right. It's interesting.
It's too early to care. Honestly,
Yeah, everyone's got cupcake schedule right now.
we've all played one quality opponent. Georgia's win.
Wisconsin had the
game.
second-rated defense in all of college football, and we did whatever we wanted to them.
That's a
So
good
I
point.
think that win carries a lot of weight, actually. But if it's too early to care, that's all I have. I don't think it's ever too early to care.
I care when I watch the games. It matters in the heat of the moment. But as far as the ranking, I don't think it really carries a whole lot of water until you get. I think it's after week 6 when they start giving you the playoff rankings. That's when you can start having a beef, when you start putting the apples to apples conversation. But for now, just relax and understand that
I'm an Ohio State fan. You can't relax.
there's a
ever.
long way to go. Well, we talk to a lot of athletes every single week, as you guys know, and we always get some quality interviews out of some of our local athletes and even those that come into our backyard and win the MVP. So let's go ahead and throw it to an all-new latest edition of the Talk of the Town.
Oh, I've feel like it's a big honor. I'm really blessed to have all of it.
Honestly, it's great. I love being up at the net with her. We share each other's hype. We go up there and put up that wall. We work together really well. We communicate well, and we just shut them down.
Anyone you want to give a shout out to watching tonight?
My girlfriend, she's at college. All my family for supporting me, and I love them all.
Yeah, it was. We knew it was going to be a physical game. They're a well-coached team. They move the ball really well. It's a top team in Division III, top team in Division II, so it was going to be a good match, and I think it lived up to it.
We started off really slow in the first. We needed to pick it up, and obviously being down, we have to pick up the tempo, and I think we did at the end, trying to get more opportunities and getting the ball up faster.
What does a win like this do for you guys?
It just gives us confidence. We got some of the backups in, gives them confidence, so it just helps always.
A big step for you coming from freshman to playing varsity. How have you adjusted so quickly?
I feel like I came out. I didn't do that good. Like the first couple weeks, it was hard. Like it was way quicker than JV. But I feel like now I got the hang of it and I'm doing way better.
Were you expecting this low-scoring game, or were you expecting more passes or runs?
Yeah, I mean, we're not much of a pass, but we had to go to the pass, and it eventually worked out. But I knew it would be low-scoring coming down to the final seconds.
So you guys being 3-3 now, how are you feeling for the season ahead?
You know, I feel like we just got to keep getting in the weight room. We just got to keep going to practice and keep hitting hard, and knowing that, you know, the season's not over. Even though we lost one MOAC game, doesn't mean that Clearport can't lose a game. You know, it came in that we're so far from the playoffs, and I feel like we're still there.
Well, early we talked about just switching on back post and defending and crosses and that sort of thing. They came out, they did it, and then, I mean, they did score on us early, but I like the way we bounced back and we cleaned it up after that. So,
what's an area you would love to see your team really improve upon to kind of go to that next level?
Since my freshman year, we've had a lot of good offensive players coming in, and this year with our back line being super young, I would like to see them improve, because our freshman year we had Kira Vesey, a senior, who come into D1. She was our star center back, and so after that we've kind of been missing a component.
This match definitely helps us. We came off of a couple rough losses here. We just need to finish stronger. We get tired a little quicker, but we just need to keep going and come together as a team.
Oh, I think we play really well together. We understand how we play together. We understand how to pick each other up, but there's always room for improvement in communication, or just the little things, like knowing what spot to hit to instead of just swinging away, you know.
I think right now what's going right is we're finding our connections everywhere on the court, whether it's a pass or a set or a hit, all those connections, a passer setter, the setter hitter, everything. We're executing on our free balls and our out-of-system plays, which is a game changer. And one thing we need to work on is just making sure we're reading the ball and not reacting as much.
You know, this win really gives us a lot of momentum. You know, we're undefeated here at home. Heading into the second half of the season, you know, it should give us a lot of momentum and just gives us the confidence that we need to play with.
So I think that we've been doing a very good job about possessing the ball and just trying to do the best that we can. Even if we're down a goal, we're just always working hard and always having that constant work rate. I think we just need to work on our consistency, but other than that, I think we're a good team and we can't do it without each other. So
you gotta remember number 7, Gage Potter. You know, the man, the man himself. Gotta take over after that guy. We love him.
All right, thank you so much, bro.
There's your talk of the town from last week. Always interesting to hear from high school kids that are putting on a hot microphone and see what they have to say about the game. And sometimes they're even flipping. They're so excited to be a part of the OH Reports. All right, I'm going to turn over the microphone now to Storm Blunchley. What do you got for us this week?
Yeah, I think it was actually kind of a slow week for me. I didn't have a match on Tuesday because I showed up late, unfortunately. But that was Madison versus Mansfield Christian. Madison ended up winning 3-0, which is exciting. Unfortunately, I couldn't bring a highlight because nobody scored in the second half, which is the only half I was there for. So that kind of sucks. Wednesday was a pretty chill day. And then on Thursday, volleyball, Danville versus Centerburg. Got to call that with K-Mac Trapp, so that was a lot of fun. He shed some insight on some volleyball terms that I didn't know about, and he was making me look good, I think, which is not hard to do. So thanks. A big shout out to Travis for helping me out, making me not sound as lame on volleyball. Friday night was football Friday night. Obviously, East Knox taking on Mount Gilead at home. It was senior night, and East Knox was wearing the yellow uniforms, which always look so good. Honestly, it was a pretty good game in the first half, and then Mount Gilead just came out, and the defenses on both sides of the football were just playing absolutely immaculately. So it was a fun one. It's always fun to drop in and get some K-M action. We were doing it, actually. It was me and Garrett. We were doing the whole game from on top of the press box. So we were both up there, and I think I froze to my seat. It's already getting that cold for me. So that was a lot of fun, though. And then on Saturday, I had Ashland versus Southview, which was absolutely so Ashland was up 3-2 with under 10 to play in the entire game. And Ashland gets a red card with about 5 minutes left to play. And then still pretty much nothing. And then it was literally under a minute to play, and Ashland gives up 2 goals to draw versus Southview. It was like the most wild ending to a game that I've ever seen. So that was honestly pretty crazy. I didn't really understand the magnitude of what I saw until I got home. But to give up 2 goals in under a minute and give up the equalizing goal with 5 seconds left was absolutely unbelievable. So that was pretty wild. So it was a pretty interesting week in sports for me. But that's it, I think.
Turn the floor over to me then, I guess. We'll start off with my first topic. I was on Saturday morning at about 1. Maslin Jackson taking on the OCC leading Worcester boys soccer team. And I had high expectations coming into this game for Worcester. I know that we haven't got to see them this year. It was kind of the first time we got to see them, and they started off fast. I mean, they got a goal in the first half, and then they were great on the back end and defensively and shutting out Maslin Jackson, but they allowed 3 unanswered goals in the second half from Maslin Jackson, and that was really all she wrote. The offense for Worcester couldn't do anything, and they got a couple PKs, did Maslin Jackson. Cody Duckworth was able to cash in on one of those. Tyler Baker was able to score 2, as well as Anthony Morgan. So they had a couple guys that were able to get to the back of the net, and Worcester, they didn't have an answer for them. It was a very chippy game, very physical. You could hear the trash talk all over there on the sidelines. So that was very interesting, and I had high expectations for Worcester. Like I said, they kind of disappointed me. So General Nation, we got to get it together.
Oh, man, letting you down.
Because I had high hopes there, but yeah, that was one of my fun games I got to cover.
What do you think about the unis?
Cool. They're interesting. I didn't like them when I first seen them. When they first walked out on the field when I was out there, I was like, but I kind of grew to like them. So I would say they're pretty solid.
It's got like that Tennessee Volunteer flow.
I like the Vols.
Aren't they all pink from the goalkeeper too?
So yeah, that was my Saturday. But I got to throw my hat in the ring here for Crestview versus Lucas. Now I actually expected you to talk a bit more, Hayden. So I didn't put a lot, but I did want to say this. I think for Crestview, they need to have 4 big wins this season. East Knox, which I thought was going to be better than they were, but I still think going down there to Chet Looney Stadium was a big win, and to do it the way they did, 35-0. Highland, I thought, was another big game that they had to win. This Lucas game, and then I think they have one more on their schedule against, obviously, the second place St. Paul Flyers. That's going to be the next biggest game for them. But if they're able to check all those boxes, they only need to check one more. I think it's going to be more than just a successful season out there for the Cougars. So another big win for them, and playing a tough Lucas team. And we don't see a Lucas team that drops to just 500 on the year. So they'll be okay though.
Are they? They got LCC this Friday.
Yeah. I like what they got over there. Lucas does, but big win for the Cougars. I'll move on to my last topic, and of course I had to mention the game from yesterday. I was really scared. I'm not even gonna lie. Me and Storm were texting a little bit, and so we overcame 2 10-point deficits. It was 14-0 early, and then the offense kind of woke up in I think it was the second quarter, and then the defense started getting going in the second half. And our defense, it's like, I don't know what we do, but like we run this shell coverage in this new Ed Donatel system. It's like bend, don't break. So like they have open wide receivers all the time.
But the second last week too.
Yeah, but like in the second half, they don't score. Like even the Eagles last week, I mean they weren't foot on the pedal, but still they didn't score a point. Lions didn't weren't really able to do anything in the fourth quarter. We haven't allowed any fourth quarter points as a defense, so only allowing 18 a game, I'll take it compared to what we've had the past couple seasons. And then I'm just going to leave this conversation at this. And I don't want you guys don't have to respond to any of this. I just want to soak it in. That's all I really want here.
You can't do it.
So since 2018, the most fourth quarter touchdown passes tied or trailing in the fourth quarter by 8 points or fewer. Now listen, a lot of people say Kirk Cousins, he's a garbage time QB, all his feet, he can't come back. Kirk Cousins leads that list. He's at 16 touchdown passes. Next highest is Derek Carr, then Pat Mahomes at 12, Ben Roethlisberger at 12, Russell Wilson 11, Deshaun Watson 11, Matthew Stafford 11, Ryan Tannehill 11, Matt Ryan at 11. Kirk Cousins is first on that list with 16. That's all I got to say. Just soak it in. You don't got to respond.
I could, but I won't.
It just hit me. Now I know.
He's the GOAT.
The best.
Hey, Kirk Cousins better than
He's still not a top 10 quarterback.
That's another day. I don't want to get into it.
Yeah.
I argue enough
No
with
time for that
fans.
today.
No.
All right, guys. I think all that's really left to do here. I mean, we got to show you the schedule, of course.
Sure.
So many games coming up on OH.Report, but the viral videos that you need to see, we didn't have this for you folks last week, so back by popular demand. Here we go. I'll go first since I'm talking here. University of Tennessee football, that they hosted Florida on Saturday, and they scored a big win. But what I thought was most impressive about what the Vols were able to do was that maybe their best athlete didn't even play in the game. Check this out.
Oh, I see.
Boom. Look at that catch. Look how smooth that is. Are you kidding me with this dime?
Dang.
What?
That's a lot of pressure situation, too.
Somebody said he's like the main character out of a movie.
That's impressive stuff. I saw that this had 2 million hits because, I mean, look at the catch.
Look at the way he spins the ball, too. He was an athlete in high school.
Yeah,
You can
no
tell.
question about it.
Look at the way he spins it.
I would have probably
right
thrown it into the
Look at
stairs.
the spin. Whoop.
Yeah.
Right here. Bingo.
Yeah.
You can tell.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
That's
doubt
the
if he
sign
played
to a
QB.
quarterback right there.
How are they not recruiting this kid? Maybe he is getting some walk-on opportunities this week. We can only hope. Tearing it up in the stands. Very impressive stuff right there.
That's pretty sick.
All right. That's what I got for you guys.
Who's next? Am I going next? I'll go next.
Go ahead, man.
Garrett would like to go next.
We do need audio for this one if possible, so I'll just we'll go ahead and play it. I don't really know how to describe this, but it's a pretty funny clip.
Oh man, now that looks good. What are you doing? Where's the whipped cream going? I don't understand what's happening. Not the peanuts. Why are you doing this? The caramel. Okay, that's okay. The caramel, we've got sprinkles and ice cream. We're good with that. You're not going to take the sprinkles away? No. Oh man, now that looks good.
Yeah, it's literally just.
What are you doing? Where's the whipped cream going? I don't understand what's happening.
And the joke is they're taking it away. That's all it is. It's just in reverse. But he makes the video. The dude's hilarious.
Yeah, if you giveth sprinkles, you can't then taketh away.
And they take it all away. Leave the dude started.
What are you doing?
Here we go.
Where's the whipped cream going? I don't understand what's happening. Not the peanuts. Why are you doing this? The caramel. Okay, that's okay. The caramel, we've got sprinkles and ice cream. We're good with that. You're not going to take the sprinkles away? No. Oh man, now that looks good.
That's very good.
That's it, boys.
So mine for this week, I feel like, is something that has happened to all of us, or at least we've all at least thought of it, is, you know, when you're having a snack and you pick out a Nature Valley bar, and we all know what happens after that, so let's just play the video. We'll see how it goes.
100%. Yes.
So I feel like we've all kind of had that feeling. They're good, but man, they're just so messy, dude. So
that's so relatable.
I figured I'd pick something comedy and relatable, I feel like, this week.
That's why I don't allow them at my house anymore. And if the kids are going to eat them, it's going to be in the backyard.
Yeah. Even then, you're going to be mowing in the backyard and shooting Nature Valley. Shrapnel everywhere. I can always leave it to Storm to know a good granola bar, though, so I don't even know how to follow it up. Mine kind of It would have been funny to follow after Brian's, I guess, because his showed off some great athleticism. I guess this isn't necessarily bad, but this is just some bad luck for this poor kid on the kick. Let's take a look and see what happens. This is from college football this weekend, and you thought the double doink in the NFL was impressive. How about 1, 2, 3, and 4?
And it doesn't go
still,
in?
No. Wow. Takes the other bounce. I mean, it's the coolest thing ever. It looks like that's Rice.
It's an OT, too. This is a big kick.
Yeah, Rice in Middle Tennessee. If that goes in, you're a legend.
Yeah. Now you're a double doink legend.
Now you're a meme.
No, not even.
Quad
doinker.
But yeah, I thought that was a pretty. Maybe that is impressive that happened. It's just bad luck.
Look at their reactions on the field.
The one poor kid, number 71, thinks it goes in.
Even the referee on the near side down here, just watch his reaction. It's so delayed.
I don't think I ever noticed 71, man.
So watch. Here's the referee here on the near side. He's
like, what?
Nope.
That's pretty good.
Good try.
That's what I brought to the table this week.
Okay. Good job, fellas. All right, let's take a look at our calendar for this week coming up on the OH Report. All the highlights and live streams that you need to see here on our airwaves, and we have plenty of them for you from the world of soccer and volleyball. Tomorrow night, we're going to have Lex at Mansfield Christian. That's going to be live and free with yours truly and Jesse Ryder on the call. Very much looking forward to that. Ontario is at Clear Fork for volleyball as well. So 2 great volleyball matches that you can watch live and free tomorrow. On Wednesday night, we've got an all-pink affair. Crestline at Lucas Volleyball. Shelby Grover just 7 kills shy of 1,000 for her career, so we're expecting her to definitely topple that. Probably going to do a fundraiser as well to try to raise some money for breast cancer awareness. So definitely a great cause and some great volleyball coming up over the next couple of days. More of that on Thursday. Centerburg at East Knox Volleyball. Colonel Crawford is at Cary as well. So 2 more great chances. Well, we are just loaded with V-ball this week. And then Friday night, look at all those great games. Which one is most intriguing to you, Storm?
Of course it's going to be South Central versus Crestview. That's the game I'll be at. So excited to see that go down. Back at Crestview, the old stomping grounds. It's going to be a lot of fun.
G-Man?
I think it's hard not to pick Lucas and LCC, but I'm not going to. I'm going to pick Galleon, Ontario. I want to see how Galleon is able to bounce back after the big win and see if they can continue their role in the MOAC.
I'm going to go with Shelby Highland. I feel like Highland's a pretty good football team. Shelby coming off of a loss that I think is a little bit devastating to them, even though Galleon is a formidable opponent. But the fact that they're not undefeated in the MOAC, they got some work to do. I want to see how the Whippets respond.
And I'll spice things up, too, and honestly say Mansfield Senior Ashland. I'm more confused about the OCC than any other conference. So we'll look to see. I'm more confused about Mansfield Senior than any other team. So I'm interested to see how that one turns out.
Wow, I can help break that down for you. West Holmes is easily the best
team
in the league.
Everyone outside of West Holmes is confusing. They are not.
And then on Saturday, we've got Archbishop Alter at Madison Girls. So one of the best teams in the entire state. We'll see if Lady Rams can hang. Liberty Benton as well, taking on Ontario. So 2 really great highlights for you guys. And then Northwestern at Crestview Volleyball in the morning. So tons of great action coming up this week on the OH Report. Hope you enjoyed our weekly podcast here. Me and the gang, and then Travis out there in Centerburg. Let's say so long, and drop us a comment. Let us know what you think about any of our opinions. Definitely want to know how you guys feel about my musical style and choice and selection. Is my top 50 pretty lame, or is it kind of cool? I want to know. That's it for now.